Welcome to reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. This is not science fiction. This is the reality of the future staring you down while Americans march straight into disaster, sleepwalking in lockstep, clutching dead beliefs that have no business surviving in a world controlled by global capital, AI, and robotics.
Sell right now! It's halt.
We're going under.
I am here to rip the mask off reality, to show you what it is, who built it, and why. If you can grasp these mechanics, you seize the power to shape your own existence and stop being a puppet for the 1%. Watch to the end, and you will see exactly how the elite have run the same con game for 2,500 years, recycling the same scripts to grind humanity underfoot. More importantly, you will learn about the tools you already possess to end their game and bring a new reality into existence. A reality where humanity is the priority, and not the elite, and not their corporate machines. While others search for omens or spiritual revelations to predict the future, I simply follow the evidence by connecting the dots from the past to current events. I am not a prophet. I am a messenger. And what you are witnessing today is a total hijacking of your reality by the elite 1% who engineered it. What you are about to see is not a theory. It is a forensic audit of a heist. We are witnessing a $55 trillion liquidation of the American estate.
A sucker is born every day.
That is wealth being vacuumed directly from your pockets, your pensions, and your children's futures, and moved into the private ledgers of the elite 1% as they pivot to a new, more manageable and profitable frontiers in the global South and Asia. These are not merely statistics. They are the metrics of a system in an intentional, controlled decline. Look at the numbers. Look at the collapse of the critical reading scores in America. Look at the flush. This is the sound of a civilization hitting its floor. I am simply holding up the mirror. This is the evidence of the slow roll in of American dominance on the world stage, coming at a time when a new reality emerges. A global economy driven by AI and robotics. You felt the weight of that opening, right? That wasn't fiction. That is the path we are on. America is not being lost by accident. It is being liquidated by design. The empire is falling, and the ground is rushing up to meet it. To survive the crash, we have to look directly at the gears of our existence. We have to understand exactly what reality is, who built it, and why. Right now, your daily reality is manufactured. It is a product built, packaged, and sold to you by the powers that be, the rich, powerful elite, the 1%. To them, reality is whatever they say it is. It's the 9-to-5 grind, the mounting debt, the endless political theater, and the media static designed to keep you numb. They want you to believe this engineered trap is the natural order of things. They have spent 2,500 years recycling the same exact scripts to convince you that you are nothing more than a cog in their machine, a number on a spreadsheet, prompt to be harvested for their profit. But that is a lie. That is their reality. It is not the true reality. True reality is grounded in biology and the mathematically precise natural universe. True reality is that a human being is not a battery to be drained. We are a biological manifestation of life itself, wired for something far greater. Evolution did not give us our advanced neurological hardware, our capacity for deep thought, empathy, and self-awareness just so we could slave away in a corporate matrix. That hardware evolved for a specific, profound purpose: to allow a conscious species to perceive the entire ecosystem, decode its patterns, recognize its fragility, and take on the active responsibility to protect the whole. This is the baseline of universal consciousness. Protecting each other in our world isn't an optional act of charity. It is the exact natural function our minds were built to perform. When a tiny group of people possesses the power to change the world, but chooses to bleed it dry for private gain, it's a crime against nature. That is the 1%. They are using the world's most brilliant technology and human potential to run a parasitic system that treats you like livestock. Think about what that actually does to your life. It forces the remaining 99% of us into an endless, exhausting trap. It means that you wake up tired, working longer hours for less pay, constantly stressed about rent, groceries, and your kids' future, while your health and peace of mind are ground down to absolute dust. This system deliberately robs you of the time, the energy, and the headspace to operate from universal consciousness, to connect, create. It steals your humanity and replaces it with survival panic, forcing you to live like a cornered animal, all just to protect their private hoard of 43% of global wealth. And that percentage take is growing daily.
How can I extract more from them?
So who built this trap? This reality wasn't created by God, and it didn't just happen by accident. It was meticulously engineered by the top 1%, a small circle of billionaires, CEOs, and politicians who control the levers of power. The rich and powerful didn't invent this yesterday. They began understanding and perfecting these exact dynamics about 2,500 years ago.
The seal is set. Indeed. Let the message be delivered. The decision is sealed. He's lying! Vote for me! This is the only path forward.
They have spent over 2 millennia treating this survival script like a family heirloom, passing it down through their bloodlines to their prosperity, refining the trap with every generation. To keep the 99% from waking up to universal consciousness and seeing who is pulling those levers, they built a global extraction engine. This engine runs on 2 massive, rigid systems designed to shatter our natural solidarity and keep us fighting each other instead of them. Institutional religion and white supremacy. Let's be entirely clear. Faith and spirituality are deeply personal. You have every right to believe what you want. They use institutional religion for 3 specific reasons. 1, to divide you from anyone who doesn't look or pray like you. 2, to manipulate your behavior by using guilt, shame, and fear. 3, to trick you into handing over your mind, your money, and your personal power to an external authority like a priest, a pastor, a rabbi, a church, a synagogue, a mosque, or a royal decree. They train you to keep your eyes fixed on a reward in the next life while they quietly liquidate your assets and strip mine your future in this one. The second tool they use is white supremacy. This is the most profoundly anti-human invention ever unleashed on the world. A direct attack on universal consciousness, designed to rank human beings for the sole benefit of the architects. Think about how this actively damages all of us. For the non-white majority, the system uses a brutal system of omission. They systematically erase, distort, and delete your history, your sciences, and your great civilizations from the school books. They train you to look down on your own people, fracturing your solidarity and retarding your boundless human potential before you even reach adulthood. But this lie inflicts a deep, toxic rot on the white working class too. The 1% offers white working class families a fake, synthetic sense of superiority. They trick them into acting like the unpaid security guards of a system that doesn't care about them. Because they've been fed the myth that they are naturally ahead, they view life as a rigid ladder where they are terrified of falling behind. This leaves them trapped in constant anxiety, completely blind to how the game is rigged. Whenever they see non-white people succeed or make progress, they don't see it as hard work. They feel it as a direct threat to their own survival. They are so busy protecting a fortress that isn't theirs, they don't even notice that the global extraction engine is destroying their own neighborhoods, stealing their own kids' futures, and consuming them too. Remember in the intro I said I was going to rip the mask off reality? This isn't rhetoric. This is scientific data, using the very science the 1% tries to distort or omit. If 1 + 1 = 2 is absolute logic, then white supremacy is an absolute failure of reason. You cannot measure the velocity of a rocket by the color of its paint, and you cannot measure the capacity of human consciousness by the pigment of its skin. Look at the hard data the system of distortion and omission hides from the school books. The 1960s molecular revolution. Before biochemistry, the elite relied on superficial physical traits to manufacture human hierarchies. However, the moment science looked inside the cell, that manufactured hierarchy collapsed. The 1980s DNA mapping, mitochondrial and Y chromosome sequencing crystallized the truth. All modern human lineages trace back to a single African root. Every civilization on Earth is just a branch of that original tree. The diversity paradox. African populations possess the highest scientific genetic diversity on Earth. There is more genetic variation between two individuals in a single Ethiopian village than between the entire populations of Europe and East Asia combined. The molecular trajectory is clear. The genetic difference between any two humans on this planet is roughly 0.1%. Race is entirely social, not biological. By omitting this data, the 1% maintains a false origin story, claiming the collective achievements of our shared biological antecedents as exclusive Western property just to keep the 99% divided. The 1% wields these two pillars together perfectly. They use weaponized religion to conquer your spirit and white supremacy to shatter your human solidarity. They create a permanent holy war in your mind, ensuring that the 99% are always pointing fingers at each other, while the elite holds a vacuum nozzle that is sucking everyone dry.
Extract more from them.
Why did they spend 2,500 years perfecting in this trap? It all comes down to two raw, ugly truths: unadulterated greed and absolute control. They want everything the earth produces, and they want to make sure you never unlock the power of universal consciousness to fight back and take it from them.
If they still have enough to complain, we haven't extracted enough. Drain the rest.
They use division as a smokescreen. They invent narratives that keep you pointing fingers at your neighbors, blaming the black, the Mexican, the Jew, or the gay. They want you angry, terrified, and distracted, fighting your own people for crumbs. Because as long as your eyes are fixed on the ground, you won't look up to see the massive heist happening right over your head. Let's talk about the size of that heist. We are witnessing a $55 trillion liquidation of the American estate. What does $55 trillion actually mean? That isn't just an abstract number on a spreadsheet. That is real wealth being vacuumed directly out of your life. That is the money that should be in your paycheck right now. It is the stolen value of your hard work, your evaporated pension, your skyrocketing rent, and your children's ruined futures. It is the financial security that should allow you to breathe easy at night, sleep without panic, and take care of your aging parents. The elite systematically bled the wealth out of your community, out of your bank account, and moved it directly into their private ledgers. And look at what they do with it. They don't reinvest it into humanity. They hoard it. The 1% are sitting on mountainous piles of trillions of idle dollars. Wealth that under universal consciousness would easily be used to cure diseases, end homelessness, clean up the environment, rebuild our schools, and elevate the standard of living for every single person on this planet. Instead, they lock it away. They sit on a massive, stagnant ocean of capital just to watch the numbers grow on their private screens, actively choosing to let human beings suffer, starve, and struggle just to maintain their absolute dominance. And why are they doing it right now? Because they are shutting down the American factory.
No, you can't do this! I've been here my whole life!
They spent decades intentionally gutting our schools and dulling American minds to make us easier to herd and swap out. To hide the rot, elite universities imported foreign brilliance to keep their tech sectors running, while they quietly built up the real replacements: AI, robotics, and automation. They don't need American workers anymore. They are letting the nation slide into an intentional controlled decline because they are done stripping this country bare. They have already packed up your stolen future and are pivoting to a new, cheaper, more submissive frontier in Asia and the global South. They have built the system to bleed you dry, and now they are leaving you with the bill. The political theater won't say, the only way out is universal consciousness, shifting from a fragmented identity managed by race and religion to a sovereign mind. Once you recognize the system is engineered, you can stop fitting it. You step into true reality, activate your evolved hardware, and protect the whole. You stop being a battery. You start bearing witness. The great fall of the American empire is at your doorstep. You can stay in the tank labeled depleted, waiting for the flush, or you can step out. What you witness today is only the diagnostic phase. To endure the great fall, you need the blueprint. Head over to the antecedents.com right now to read our master briefings and to access the full forensic files and suppress historical records the 1%'s global extraction engine spent centuries trying to omit. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We are delivering the mechanics of the hijack and the precise tools for your sovereignty. Don't just watch the decline, prepare for what comes after. The evidence is clear. The choice is yours. See you on the inside. And as always, stay human and keep your heart as light as a feather.